as I entered a classroom one day, I saw a group of kids sitting together. Small toddlers, they were sharing their toys, they were interacting, and their interactions were so innocent. There was so much of laughter, they were singing nursery rhymes, and it was a sheer joy to be seeing what they are doing. But what caught my eye that moment was a child sitting right in the corner. The child was there in the environment, but he wasn't there. He was in some different world, a world which I didn't know that time, because I was there that day as a part of my family business, just to see the functioning of the school going well or not. But what triggered my interactions or my career as a special educator was that child sitting in the corner, and I wanted him to be part of this circle, this joy, this happiness, but I didn't know what to do, how to help him out. He was sharing few eye contacts with me. He even looked up to me, but I could not connect to him. And that's how I decided that day that I want to be getting him from that corner to this place. I wanted him to share the same joy. Maybe he was in a different world, but I was sure that his world was the one which I wanted to explore. And it was a world which was a beautiful one. And that's how I trained myself as a special educator. Taking the things further, when I started interacting with the parents, the trigger was already the child. I wanted to meet more and more parents. So now what happened was the parents who I dealt with had so much of pain, so much of anguish, so much of anger and despair. The only question each parent who would come to me and ask me was, "Ma'am, why me?" The question mark. And I wanted to change their perspective from why me to try me. And I wanted to tell them that with hope, with technical inputs, with connections, with happiness, and with joy, we could take them to the next level. Here I'm talking about inclusion. Now, what is inclusion? Inclusion is getting the neurotypical, or the kids we know as normal kids, and the kids with deviation we tag or label as the kids with special needs or disabilities on the same platform. On the same platform, bridging the gaps between them. Because we live in a society where most of us have no or very little knowledge about deviations, because any child who does not fit into the parameters of so-called normal is considered someone who does not belong. And I wanted each child to belong. So here we started a chain of schools which would cater to the kids with special needs and neurotypical together. And here I would like to tell you that when parents would come to me, they would ask me that, "Ma'am, a kid with special needs is sure to benefit from a kid who is neurotypical. But what about a neurotypical or a normal kid, learning behaviors or trying to imitate a kid with special needs?" In fact, the learning this side on the special kids is lesser than the learning this side, where a neurotypical kid learns to care, to show kindness, compassion, and take care of the body who cannot express. And here I would like to share an example. In fact, if you go into a classroom, inclusive classroom, which we have, a child who is asked by a teacher that, "Can you answer this question?" A child who is considered special stands up very hesitatingly. The child who is neurotypical holds his hand and pats his back and says, say no, I am there. And that is victory. That is sanitizing or making our society understand that they belong to us. And if we do not include them, then who includes them? We need to understand that their world is bright and beautiful, very bright and very beautiful, but a little different. They see things in a different way. They need help, but with help, their milestones, their developments may not, follow a timeline, reach the deadline or the targets, but they are surely met. They are surely learning. They are imbibing things in their own ways. Here we follow the concept or the theory given by Howard Gardner, the theory of multiple intelligence. Now, if I ask you, are you intelligent? In fact, if someone asks me, am I intelligent? I need to think for a while that, am I intelligent? Because intelligence is not defined. In fact, if I turn the question and ask you, how are you intelligent? You all are intelligent. Some of you are music smart. Some of you are nature smart. The ones who are music smart learn through music. They learn every concept through music. Everything comes random on their lips. In fact, beats, learning songs is so much fun to them. Some are nature smart. They learn through nature. They feel the leaves. They hold the apples in their hands. They like to listen to the sounds of the nature. Some have interpersonal skills. Some have intrapersonal skills. But each one of us have 8 intelligences in us. And we wanted to bring out that intelligence in a child who was labeled. The biggest challenge for us was acceptance. Acceptance of the parents. Because once you accept that, yes, the problem lies here. So we do not focus on the problem when we have the problem. We start working on the solutions. But for that, we need to identify that here is what I need to do. Acceptance of the fellow parents, acceptance of the teachers, and also making them understand that we are also learning every day from them. We are learning every day from them in different ways. In fact, when I take as my takeaway as an educator, I've learned not to serve them, but I learn patience, I learn love, I learn innocence. And believe you me, when we deal with kids under the spectrum or having attention issues or different kind of disabilities, all of them, maybe 100, 200 or 300 of them, all of them are different. And different in a beautiful way. They all have their strengths and they are still learning to cope up with their weaknesses. But if done properly, it's a beautiful, bright world. It's a bright world where we are taking all of them together. We are taking all of them together and each one is blossoming absolutely perfectly. Absolutely in their own times. In fact, the education system we have been brought up is the one with the grades, is the one where we are marked, is the one where we write answers on the said day of exam and we get our grades or reports. But in our system, in our schools, we are not marking them on what the output is on a said day on a paper. But we are marking them on the daily developments, daily victories, daily efforts, daily, in fact, we mark them or celebrate each and every victory the child is doing. even a child who has muscular issues, issues with the fine motor skills, because these kids have issues with sensory inputs and outputs. They have issues with gross and the fine motor development. They have issues with communication. They can't communicate. Even if they communicate, it is very restricted, and it is very difficult for them to express their side of the story the way we do. So even if the child is doing something, or maybe there is a victory, we celebrate that victory, because each small victory ultimately will become a big achievement. And it is very important for each one of us. In fact, all the systems in our environment should now be inclusive in a very beautiful way. Inclusive not only when we tag the institutions or the environments inclusive. Inclusiveness comes from within. Inclusiveness comes from the acceptance that yes, maybe a little behind, but I will take you to walk besides me. I'll take you there where we need to be. Together we can, and together we will. We have to get to that level. And here I would like to tell the parents or everyone who's watching this is in a span of past 15 years where we are very successfully training or nourishing kids in our environment. In fact, it's a pride and sheer joy to see each child coming up so wonderfully. There are certain issues, there are deviations, but there is no deviation, no barrier, no struggle which cannot be achieved if there is a determination. And also there is a very big need for us to educate the environment, educate the educators. I'm sure each educator is a wonderful human being at heart, but instilling that compassion. Teaching a neurotypical child is very easy. Teaching a kid with little deviations is not difficult, but you need to connect. And no learning comes without connect. Every learning has to be connected, be it with anyone. Every guru shishya, every teacher-student relationship has to have it connect. There has to be a lot of joy, because the joy of learning is the biggest joy, because that's what we take back. That's what we cherish. That's what we take and pass on the legacy. Joy, connect, and appreciation. Let's appreciate these kids in our environment, because if not for these kids, there would be no innocence. Believe you me, the best hug, the best emotions I have received as an educator in past so many years are the hugs which I receive each morning from all these kids, are the emotions which are as pure as the purest of water from these kids. And nothing on this earth can change that for them. So with this hope and with this energy and with this thought that inclusion is the way forward. Inclusion is what we need to spread. Inclusion is getting the neurotypical and the kids with special needs, the kids who are different, the two things which are not together, and have beautiful and meaningful dialogues and interactions. And hope is the only decision that we follow. Thank you so much.